Hello, good evening. This is Ajit Kumar Jha, the editor of the Public Global and CEO of the Power Pixar. And today I want to go back to my favorite topic, which is also the trending topic, and that is the Bihar election that is going to take place 5 months or 6 months from now, basically the autumn of this year. By the way, that's the only election, assembly election, that is due this year. So, in a way, the Bihar election is going to set the template of the future elections for next year. And there is a massive lineup next year, starting with Tamil Nadu, Kerala in the south, then it will go up to other states, Punjab, then states like Gujarat and several other states, UP, lined up the following year. So, in a way, the Bihar election, according to me, will be the main, what I would call the benchmark. There is one big reason for that. And what is the big reason? That the Bihar election is going to be conducted post what we call Operation Sindoor. So let me go back to the Bihar election and let me talk about one pre-poll survey that was just released yesterday. And that pre-poll survey, normally when I say pre-poll survey, people say, oh, but pre-poll survey always go wrong. Well, they do go wrong when it comes to prediction of seats at times, because pre-poll surveys end up giving you a general tendency, the percentage of vote, and a few other tendencies which are very, very significant for an election. And in that, they are always right. Where they go wrong is prediction of seat. So in this pre-poll survey, I will not do what we call prediction of seats. But what is most important that came out of this pre-poll survey? First of all, the pre-poll survey was done by a group called Ink Insight. And let me just tell you one or two aspects of the pre-poll survey. The sample survey was about 5,145 voters across 194 of the 223 assembly constituencies of Bihar. So the first thing is the spread of the survey is very good. Why? Because 194 assembly constituencies. So you get an overall spread. It's very difficult to do that individually. What happens in pre-poll surveys is they have a team which goes down to these various constituencies, the various polling booths, and there is a randomized basis to it. The pre-poll survey was conducted in the month of April, from April 1 to April 30th. So in a way, this pre-poll survey was conducted before Operation Sindoor, but part of it was right after Pahalgam, because remember, the terrorist killed 26 innocent sort of Hindus. One person was a Nepali citizen, 24 were Hindu males. That gruesome killing took place on 22nd April while the pre-poll survey was still going on. Okay, so now let me point out the most significant aspect of the pre-poll survey. Let me begin with the fact that if you look at the pre-poll survey, and there was one conducted around February as well. I'll of course focus on the pre-poll survey of, as I pointed out, Ink Insight. It basically shows that the main fight is bipolar between the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan, or if you want to put it, between the NDA led by Nitish Kumar and the Mahagathbandhan or the India bloc at this point of time led by Tejashwi Yadav. So the main fight is right there. The big bulk of the percentage votes, almost to the tune of, let's say, 85%, is between these two groups. The rest 15% can be divided into, let's say, or even less, into smaller candidates. When I mention the figures, you will see for yourself. So bipolar fight between NDA and the Mahagathbandhan. Number one. Number two, the big two candidates for CM is Nitish Kumar and Tejashwi Yadav, not these other smaller players like Chirag Paswan or Prashant Kishore or someone else, let's say a BJP leader. None of them. The big names are just two. Tejashwi Yadav of the RJD and Nitish Kumar. So these two general tendencies are, I would say, it will carry on, according to me, in the next 5 or 6 months. Because I've been following various pre-poll surveys being conducted in Bihar, and I myself have spent almost, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks traveling around Bihar recently. I just returned from there. So that's the number two insight. Number three, as I said, this is before Operation Sindoor. So post Operation Sindoor, obviously, anyone would argue that the entire prediction will perhaps be more favorable to the NDA. So that's another point which doesn't come out of the survey, but I am making that prediction. Now, the big question is, what are the unique features of this survey that we need to analyze? And the biggest feature of this pre-poll survey is a massive gender gap. And that is something that is to be noted. What is a gender gap? The gender gap is the difference between the men's vote and the women's vote. And if you take, let's say, two political groups, then are the women favoring one particular group, one particular leader in bigger numbers than the men's, or the other way around? So if you take that, this survey comes out with a unique result. In fact, 60.4%, let's call it 61% of the women voters in Bihar are favoring the NDA. 61%. That is an overwhelming number. And only 28.4%, okay, let's call it 29% of the voters are favoring the Mahagathbandhan. Women voters, are female voters, if you want to call them, are favoring the Mahagathbandhan. Less than half, 61-29. So the gender gap, I would say, by Jove, I have studied elections during my graduate school in England, America, in India, and I have been I have conducted several surveys in India Today, for example, for long number of years. I used to conduct the state of the state based on survey data. Every 6 months we used to do it. I have never ever seen a 36% gender gap. Now, that is something that needs serious analysis. So the women voters in Bihar are overwhelmingly in favor of the NDA. And the truth is that the women voters of Bihar, when asked who they favor between Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and the Mahagathbandhan leader Tejashwi Yadav, they are overwhelmingly again in favor of Nitish Kumar. So it is the personality of Nitish Kumar that is attracting massive amount of women in their favor. Let me give some quick answers, which the survey doesn't give. Number one, I would say the Vikas plank of Nitish Kumar. In fact, when I was traveling in Bihar, I was generally driving. But what happened is, in one place, I took a rickshaw and I sat with the rickshawala for some time and chit chatted with him. By the way, he was a Dalit. And I asked him, I was generally discussing, Bihar politics with him. And I asked him, what do you think of Mukhyamantri Nitish Kumar? And this was his reply. He said, Sir, Nitish ji ka to pehchan vikas hai. Vikas hi unka pehchan hai. Now, that is something I heard several times. Of course, I think this was a very beautiful, pithy statement. But I heard this while moving across Bihar. And if you're traveling around Bihar, you'll have lots of delays right now. And one reason is, of course, it's marriage season. But the other reason is almost every major road in Bihar is being expanded. In fact, the roads had become quite good in Bihar. If you travel now, at one time from Patna to Madhubani would take about 8 to 9 hours, which is about 200 kilometers. Nowadays, it takes about 3.5 to 4 hours. So the travel time has become half. But much more important, even that road is being expanded. Lot of money is being spent on roads, on electricity, 24 hours. I spent time in the villages. I did not see the electricity going even for a minute. Honestly, there is more electricity, a drop in a city like Delhi than I see in Bihar today. Water has piped water has reached homes. So crime is low, let's say, compared to 20 years ago. So I think from that perspective, the women voters love Nitish Kumar, number one. Number two, I think, is the prohibition policy. Of course, you will meet people telling you, oh, but you get alcohol illegally. Someone will blame the police, others will blame the administration. But the truth is, women love the prohibition policy. It is not openly sold in Bihar like it is openly sold in Gurgaon or in Delhi and other places. And why do women love that? Because a lot of these alcoholics, husbands sometimes someone else in the home, they are basically alcoholics. Whatever they earn, they go and drink, or they come back and there is violence at home. Now that, it seems, has reduced. If you talk to the women, they will tell you, of course, it has come down drastically. And therefore, that's one reason why Nitish Kumar is being favored so majorly in the polls. Now, what else? The various development programs, I can go ahead and make a whole list of them, but just let me mention the obvious ones. You go to Bihar today, and, I was at one time the Times of India editor in Bihar, let's say about, a quarter century in the past. And at that time, I had never seen this scenario. Wherever you go in Bihar, in the villages, you will see girls on bicycles. Now, this is something that changed the entire face of patriarchy in Bihar. The model was copied by various Hindi heartland states, but Nitish Kumar has become the great champion of women. Young students, number one, number of scholarships, number of initiatives that if the girls do well, their entire studies turn out to be free. All that, various programs, I could list them, but let me just mention the Vidwa pension scheme, the widow pension schemes, the various other kinds of payments to women, especially in the rural areas, especially among poor, especially among things like, the MBCs, the most backward castes, the Dalits, the I would say the minorities, the PDA sections, largely also among the same programs are also benefiting poor widow women who are from the upper castes and others. So that, I think, has helped Nitish Kumar gain such a big gender gap, unheard of in Bihar. So if this poll is right, and I'm assuming because this poll is not predicting who is going to win, and in fact, the next prediction I'll make from this poll, you will realize that it is not necessarily in favor of any political party, because the next step, the poll predicts among the young voters, Tejashwi Yadav is much more popular than Nitish Kumar among the young voters. Now, let me give you the breakup, the detailed breakup. If you take voters between the age group of 18 to 29, so the youngest voters, then the gap is massive. Tejashwi is getting 42% vote. Nitish Kumar is only getting 28% vote. Let's, at this moment, just compare Nitish Kumar to Tejashwi. As you go up 30 to 39, again Tejashwi Yadav is pulling 43% votes. Nitish Kumar is getting 35.4% votes. Let's go to the next stage, and that's where the thing changes. 40 to 49. In the age group of 40 to 49, Nitish Kumar, the chief minister, is getting 41% vote, whereas Tejashwi Yadav is getting 33% vote. So 40 and above, in fact, the next age group is 50 to 59. Nitish Kumar is getting 44.3% vote. Tejashwi is getting 34% vote. So what we see is among the young voters, Tejashwi has a bigger pull. Among the older voters, as I said, from 30 to, let's say, 50, 30 to 49, in that age group, or I would say much more from 40 to 60, let's say, 40 to 60, that age group, Nitish Kumar has a much bigger voter base. More people interviewed preferred Nitish Kumar between the age of 40 to 60, whereas from the age group of 18 to 39 or 18 to 40, the younger cohorts, they preferred Tejashwi. Now, suppose someone argues, this entire sample is biased. It can't be, because in gender gap, Nitish Kumar gets the advantage. Among the younger voters, Tejashwi gets the advantage. Among the older voters, I would say somehow Nitish Kumar gets the advantage. Now, there is another interesting factor, 60 plus, the senior citizens. Among the senior citizens, again, Tejashwi gets an advantage, 36% to Nitish Kumar's 23%. Why? Because I think among the senior voters, it's the Lalu factor, not so much the Tejashwi factor. The Lalu factor, people who have seen Lalu Prasad Yadav, who understand how Lalu Prasad Yadav changed the entire sociological profile of Bihar. It used to be upper caste dominated, now it is more OBC dominated, and various other factors. Lalu Prasad, after all, is a very charismatic figure, so that is pulling voters in favor of Tejashwi. Now, let me just raise other names. The BJP, people would wonder, is it all Nitish Kumar or is it Tejashwi? Is it BJP? Well, in the BJP, they asked two kinds of questions. One was, what are the number of people who favor, let's say, in fact, three kinds of questions. What are the number of people who prefer a new leader from the BJP, a new face of the BJP? That seems to be the third alternative. The new face of the BJP among the young voters, 13.4%. 9% between 30 to 39, 10% between 40 to 49, 11% between 50 to 59, and a significant 17% among the senior citizens. So the BJP is pulling, but not as much as Nitish Kumar. Now, what they did is they asked one personality they gave from the BJP, Samrat Chaudhary, and they asked about him. Now, he is getting a very tiny section of the voters, 1.61%. Among the youngest voter, 18 to 29, 2.28 between 30 to 39, 2.22 between 40 to 49, 1.05 between 50 to 59. Very, very small. Among the senior citizens, 5.68. Among the senior citizens, you find whatever Nitish has lost, that the BJP is compensating for Nitish. Because if you remember, I pointed out among the senior citizens, Tejashwi has an advantage. What about, you must be wondering, what about not independent, Chirag Paswan is part of the NDA, but what about Chirag Paswan? What about Prashant Kishore? Interesting. Chirag Paswan has more support as CM candidate than Prashant Kishore, which is a shocker for many people, especially because in the last survey, January, February, the number one in terms of CM candidate was Tejashwi, but the number two was Prashant Kishore. Now, he has really come down in this survey. In this survey, Chirag Paswan among the youngest voters, 7.09%, Prashant Kishore 2%. Among 30 to 39, Chirag Paswan 3.9, Prashant Kishore 2.29. Among 40 to 49, Chirag Paswan 6, Prashant Kishore 2. Among 50 to 59, Chirag Paswan almost 2%, Prashant Kishore 2%. Senior citizens, Chirag Paswan almost 15%, 14.51, and Prashant Kishore 2.6. Maybe if you to the nearest denominator, 3%. So Prashant Kishore almost doesn't touch 3% in any category. Chirag Paswan does a massive, I would say 15% among the senior citizens. So back to the final conclusion. Number one, what I pointed out, gender gap is making Nitish Kumar very popular across the state. Number one, among young voters, Tejashwi does have an advantage, but if you add up the voters of the BJP as well as the JDU, then Nitish Kumar ends up doing extremely well. So if the elections are fought under the leadership of Nitish Kumar, and by the way, recently, if you know, Chirag Paswan just 2 days ago called Nitish Kumar to his house and said, we are contesting the election under the leadership of Nitish Kumar. So have several of the BJP leaders, including Samrat Chaudhary. So if the election, as I said, is typically bipolar, if it is Nitish versus Tejashwi Yadav, the advantage is majorly for Nitish Kumar. If it is between NDA versus Mahagathbandhan, I think the advantage in this case is again for the NDA, driven by the popularity of Nitish Kumar, largely among the women voters. I have already given you a few reasons for that. Let me end here. In the next video on Bihar, I will go and talk more about what kind of development programs Nitish Kumar has brought in. I'll do more of a scatter details among the districts, what kind of major things he has done. But just to quickly end up with a couple of them, for the first time in the history of Bihar, from the Patna railway station, you might have seen videos floating around. You have the new metro station being built. Direct from Patna railway station, you can actually walk in these AC-filled sort of chambers, which look really inviting, straight to Dak Bangla. That will take care of the crowds that you would see outside the Patna railway station. Number one, all of you already know that a new airport is going to start in Patna. In fact, Prime Minister Modi is supposed to reach by the end of the month, 29th, 30th, and he is going to inaugurate the new Patna airport. I have seen it from outside. I haven't been inside. A new airport is being built in Beta, which is Swami Sahajanand's ashram was in Beta, just barely 40 kilometers from Patna. That's the other major development. And I could go on and on. I'll talk about it in a subsequent video, but let me conclude again. This survey, if it is to be believed, Nitish Kumar has a very big advantage, drawn mainly by the women voters, by the female voters, because of his development plan. And the runner-up in this case at this moment is Tejashwi. As his popularity among youngsters rise in the next 5 months, he might be the only challenger for Nitish Kumar. Otherwise, it is a bipolar fight between Nitish Kumar, Tejashwi Yadav, between NDA and the Mahagathbandhan. Thank you very much.